Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
It has been gloomy. 40s, though, are nice. How about some 50-degree numbers? We'll see how many times we can do it in the next 7 days.
Also hoping for the best. President George H.W. Bush in the ICU tonight, and now we've learned his wife Barbara has been hospitalized too.
But first, a frantic evacuation at the Jewish Community Center in West Bloomfield following an ominous threat. And now we've learned they're not the only ones who got the call. Thanks for being with us for the news at 5. Dozens of other Jewish community centers also received similar phoned in bomb threats.
All turned out to be hoaxes, but it caused a bit of chaos. Jason Colthorpe live at the JCC in West Bloomfield, and they are still trying to figure out the source on these. Jason, what's the word?
They are, and as they went through this today, Devin, after that call came in, it took them about 2.5 hours to clear the building here using bomb-sniffing dogs. Of course, West Bloomfield police on the scene, and if you look up by the entrance, one vehicle, police vehicle, still here on the scene watching. But other than that, JCC operations back up and normal again. You can see people coming and going. Now, as you say, this was the second time in 10 days Jewish community centers around the country were targeted. And that's why JCC here has a plan in place, and it's why things went so smoothly today. Jewish leaders calling it telephone terrorism for the second time in 10 days at Jewish community centers around the country. Today at the JCC in West Bloomfield, a phone call at 11:30 this morning from a woman saying there was a bomb in a package.
Which immediately enacted our emergency procedures, which included evacuation of the building. As you can imagine, our first priority always is the safety of our invitees, our children, our guests, and our members, and also our staff.
We are aware of there are other threats across the United States today and, of course, last week. And want to believe that the threat is low, and it probably is low, but it's never zero.
The 200 or so students were immediately ushered to the soccer field area.
Well, the worst part was that we had to wait out in the field for about an hour.
It was cold.
It was cold.
Obviously, a lot of us looked it up and we saw there was bomb threats from JCCs around the nation, but they kept us calm even though there was chatter about it. They said, we'll keep you updated, and they kept us calm.
After a full building search, the all clear was given at 2:05 today, and things went back to normal.
It's just a shame because, like, they just do this to make us scared, but we're not scared at all.
And I did talk to one employee who said, reiterated, it was very orderly the way this all went down, this evacuation. And again, all those threats nationally were proven to be false. However, authorities both nationally and locally staying on high alert and continuing to investigate this situation. We're in West Bloomfield tonight. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Jason, I'm just curious how long it took to clear the building.
It was cleared about 2:05, and I know they're asking more. Or earlier you'd mentioned about the source of this and the caller. And just to go back to that briefly, the woman's voice was hard to hear, which was reported by whoever took the call today. And the first round of these 10 days ago, those were reportedly recorded conversations, so a difference. And I think that's going to be a key point of this investigation as it goes forward, Devin.
I sure think so. All right, Jason.
The oldest living former U.S. president is in intensive care with complications from pneumonia. His wife, Barbara Bush, was also admitted to the hospital today with fatigue and coughing just as a precaution. Former President George H.W. Bush has been hospitalized in Houston since Saturday. The 92-year-old was initially admitted to Methodist Hospital for shortness of breath.
Dr. Frank McGeorge here now, and of course, Doc, at the age of 92, we would imagine pneumonia is a pretty serious situation.
Definitely, but you know, this might put it in a little bit of perspective. There are some commonly used scoring guidelines for the severity of pneumonia, and based on age alone, he has about a 10% risk of death from the pneumonia. Add on top of that a Parkinson's-like neurologic problem, and the risk only goes up. So yeah, it's extremely serious.
Now, he's in the ICU tonight. Could that move have been made out of an abundance of caution just for the former president, or is this something that normally happens?
Well, initially it probably was just out of an abundance of caution, but over the course of the day, the reports that I've heard is that he's required sedation and intubation, which means breathing assistance on a ventilator, which not only suggests a more severe problem, but of course it means the ICU is absolutely necessary. So keep your fingers crossed and just wait.
And you have to wonder about the Barbara Bush.
Well,
if it's
that was probably cautionary based on everything we've heard so far. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Doc.
Now, just a short time ago, President Obama offered his well wishes for President and Mrs. Bush. Those remarks coming at Obama's final news conference before leaving office. Steve Handelsman following that from the White House. Steve?
He leaves office with twice the approval ratings of Donald Trump, 60% to 30%. And Barack Obama said in his final Q&A with media, the new president may move his way.
And he looks at the complexities of how to, in fact, provide health care for everybody, something he says he wants to do, or wants to make sure that he is encouraging job creation and wage growth in this country. That may lead him to some of the same conclusions that I arrived at once I got here.
Chelsea Manning, why he reduced the sentence to 7 years.
You know, I feel very comfortable that justice has been served and that a message has still been sent.
On Russia, Putin, and Ukraine, no let up on sanctions, a message to Trump.
It is important for the United States to stand up for the basic principle that big countries don't go around and invade and bully smaller countries.
More advice to the incoming president.
This is a job of such magnitude that you can't do it by yourself.
And advice to the press at a White House shaping up as more hostile.
My hope is that you will continue with the same tenacity that you showed us to do the hard work of getting to the bottom of stories.
And Mr. Obama suggested getting more Americans to turn out to vote for our leaders. Asked about the growing boycott, more Democrats declining to attend Friday's swearing in of Donald Trump, President Obama said simply, he and Michelle will be there. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News at the White House.
Steve, now there was an issue that President Obama did not bring up during his final news conference that some Metro Detroiters have been watching.
That would be a presidential pardon for ex-Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, something his family and friends have been hoping could come at the last minute of the Obama presidency. Rod Maloney's following that story for us tonight. And Rod, is there any chance this could happen?
You know, there is a ever slim chance, perhaps, but as the clock ticks here, it's becoming less and less likely, and the family here is holding out all hope.
This is the remnants of the old Ferguson Enterprises, Bobby Ferguson's old excavating business. He, of course, convicted right alongside Kwame Kilpatrick. The website Change.org hosts a website with a petition for the president to pardon Kwame Kilpatrick, but there's one for Ferguson, too. The Ferguson family's backing the effort, and Bobby Ferguson's cousin Daniel Ferguson, outside the old business today, stated the case plainly.
To me, it was a bunch of BS from the rip, but this is what we're left to deal with, so we're trying to deal with it the best way we can.
The website gathering petition signatures calls 28 years in federal prison excessive for Kwame, and while admitting Kwame committed crimes, it calls on the president not to allow another black man to rot in prison. Daniel Ferguson invokes the name of Chelsea Manning.
How you gonna pardon somebody that committed treason and not even look at what people are saying? A lot of people wants Kwame home, not just his family.
The website boasts nearly 30,000 signatures, though 100,000 would apparently have forced the White House to take a closer look at a Kwame pardon.
The man shouldn't be in there for no 28 years, man. I mean, you know, and it's not, like I say, I know I'm family, but it's not just me that feel this way. There's a lot of people that feel this way.
Now, Bobby Ferguson serving his 21-year prison sentence in Virginia. Kwame Kilpatrick doing his 28 years down in Oklahoma. And, of course, they are asking the president, whose own Department of Justice convicted them, to undo that conviction. That may be a bridge too far, but we'll have to wait and see if something happens between now and Friday. Back to you.
Now, Rod, is the White House even commenting on this case? We know the president didn't bring it up in his final news conference today.
Right. Yeah, I put in a call to the White House press room today, and nobody picked up, and nobody has called me back. Usually they do that. And so, you know, I know that he was doing his news conference this afternoon, so perhaps they were busy. Maybe we'll hear tomorrow.
Yep. In the meantime, clock is ticking. Okay. Rod, thanks. All right, now to the weather. And the big question, where in the world is winter? Where's the sun?
Ben has put out an APB on both. What do you say?
it's fine if winter wants to stay away for a while. We don't necessarily need it back anytime soon, but the sun would be nice to see. Right now, we do have one of the warmest temperatures in the region at 41 degrees. Alpena is matching that temperature. It's actually 41 in Marquette, which is usually always colder than what we've got down here, and 41 out in the Twin Cities, but everybody else in the 30s right now. Tonight, we will see the clouds break up, but since it's going to be after sunset, that's not going to be a huge help for folks who are wanting to see some sunshine. Down into the upper 30s at 10 o'clock. Those breaks in the clouds could lead to some fog. We'll look at that and our potential for 50, maybe more than once. That's all coming up in a few minutes, guys.
All right, Ben. The Great Lakes Water Authority says they've gotten to the bottom of the downriver water concerns, urging residents that at no time were there any real safety concerns.
GLWA CEO Sue McCormick says the taste and odor concerns were prompted by the cleaning of settling basins at the water treatment plant. Once staff determined the cleaning could be a contributing factor, it was immediately stopped.
However, some of the water treated entered the distribution system with harsh tastes and smells. Staff then began feeding powdered activated carbon into the system to help stop that issue. Well, it's a small sign that has some folks living in a part of downtown Detroit buzzing.
Yeah, people are talking about it. New tonight, is Trader Joe's really coming to Corktown? Sean?
We have been tracking wheel and tire thieves all over Metro Detroit. Now a couple of guys try to hit up north here near Romeo.
They all got out and began to look for the individuals, and sure enough spotted two individuals running from the dealership.
Usually these guys get away and aren't caught. Here, two guys are under arrest. They made one critical mistake that caught the attention of a sheriff's deputy.
All right, Sean, but first, chaos at a beloved Detroit Coney Island. The one person caught in this brawl the police need to find. Next.
New at 6.
He doesn't have a driver's license. He doesn't even have a car. So how did this guy manage to pick up his 14th drunk driving arrest? Hear from the owner of the car police say he was driving. That's new at 6. Rod?
Here at Warren City Hall, the questions abound.
I think the public deserves to know. I think the truth needs to come out here, whether it's him or not.
Questions about Mayor Fouts, the audio scandal, also now electioneering. We'll have the latest ahead.
A man is shot after a wild fight breaks out inside American Coney Island in downtown Detroit. Police are trying to find this man seen on the surveillance video. Investigators say he was among the group of men that came into the Coney Island around 3 a.m. Sunday. This was January 8th, just this past weekend. A fight broke out after the men harassed a group of women inside during all that chaos. Make that 2 weekends ago, sorry, which included punches being thrown, chairs being tossed. The man then opened fire and shot a 19-year-old. So anyone with information, Detroit police would like to hear from you.
Well, a huge team effort helps nab two guys who police say stole wheels from a Washington Township car dealership. It's a growing crime all across the region and the country. And normally people who commit crimes like this are tough to catch. Sean Lay shows us how these guys definitely did not make it easy for police to catch them.
Both wheel thieves are from Detroit. That's 36 miles from where I am right here. This is Washington Township. This is where police put the brakes on these guys. The Macomb County Sheriff's Office says 33-year-old Daryl Fox and 27-year-old Dwayne Hood went right for the best and most expensive wheels on the lot. It was after 2 Monday morning when investigators say the pair already had 16 wheels and tires off of Challengers, Chargers, and Jeeps when a sheriff's deputy drove by. He saw a U-Haul backed into a space, and that U-Haul caught his eye.
I think he saw a van backed in there that subsequently it was determined to be a rental van, but a van backed in there, and then that caused them, piqued their interest and caused them to go in there and take a closer look.
It took 2 canines, one from Macomb County, the other from Armada Police, plus MSP troopers and Romeo police officers to track the pair down an hour later. Local 4 has detailed how crews of rim and tire thieves have left vehicles on blocks and owners and police frustrated all over Metro Detroit. Here, 2 men thought quiet Washington Township was the place to steal, but an alert deputy put a stop to them.
That stretch of dealerships along Van Dyke has been targeted in the past, so we're grateful that these guys got caught.
Back here live, look, plenty of you have talked to us saying you've looked outside in your driveway early in the morning and your car or SUV is on blocks, the rims and the guy's long gone. This case is different. 2 people under arrest being held on $50,000 bond in the Macomb County Jail tonight. Kimberly, back to you.
Well, Sean, do we know if these guys are connected to any other thefts?
That is the key question that we asked investigators here in Macomb County. They say, of course, that's something they're going to be looking into because Metro Detroit wide, we have investigative agencies trying to track all of these different thefts and trying to make an arrest. So this could be the tip of the iceberg, or it could be an isolated incident.
Yeah, like we mentioned before, it's not easy to catch these kinds of criminals. Sean, we appreciate it.
That's how it always seems to go. You get these stretches where you wonder, would you rather have it sunny and ice cold,
right,
or mild but really gray and cloudy?
Good problem to have, I guess. Either one.
I can't have it warm and sunny?
No,
right.
that is not an option. It's not all of the above. But you know what? We will get some even warmer temperatures than this towards the end of the forecast. The sunshine, that remains to be the question, and we'll get to that in the 7-day outlook here in just a minute. We're at 41 right now at Metro. Most of the areas in the 30s. But even though this is still well above average and about 10 degrees above average for this time of year, it's cooler than what we were yesterday at this time. Not by much, about 2 to 7 degrees cooler with a little bit more of a change down here in Lenawee, Monroe County. Now, the satellite image is showing that some of these clouds are breaking up, but when you start looking at the actual reports out of some of the airports around the area, everybody still reporting overcast skies. So we'll wonder when these breaks are actually going to take place. Most likely it's going to be later tonight as higher pressure gets closer. That should allow those clouds to break up. Of course, that's not going to help us with the sunshine part, but it is going to allow fog to form as we get into tomorrow. So if those clouds break up, and that is still an if, there may be enough moisture and temperatures could be rising enough just above the surface to pretty much trap those clouds. However, but if they do break up and the fog forms, that'll be around for the morning hours. Then we'll get rid of that fog. Towards the end of the afternoon, that looks like our best chance of seeing some sunshine here in the next 7 days, and even that's not a slam dunk. It's likely going to be partly cloudy at best, with a lot of it staying mostly cloudy in the afternoon tomorrow. And then here comes the rain as we get into Friday. That will bring the clouds back Thursday night, and with temperatures being just around that freezing mark in the morning, we could be seeing a little bit of a mix on the onset, but primarily everything that we see on Friday is going to be in the form of rain. Once that warm front comes through, 50-degree highs, not out of the question as we get into the weekend. 33 tonight, though. We'll call it partial clearing and then the fog developing. And again, there's a chance that that may not happen. We may end up with clouds the whole night. Tomorrow, though, 46 degrees. Any fog that does show up will be out of here pretty quickly, and then some breaks in the clouds as we head into the second half of tomorrow. So we will see 46 here in our metro zone, one of our warm spots as you look at the 4-zone forecast. Probably 47 here in the city. Closer to M59, we'll look at 45 there from Mount Clemens on back to the west. South zone, you'll be in the mid-40s. 47, one of our warmest temperatures that we will see tomorrow. West zone, at least you're escaping the 30s. Everybody in the 40s for highs from Flint down to Canton and Ann Arbor. And no 30s in our north zone either. In fact, even though that'll be the coldest spot, everybody will make it above 40 degrees tomorrow. Then there's that 50 on Saturday. Temperatures come down just a little bit, but we're nowhere near average for the next 7 days. Even in the mornings, it's going to be mild. And other than the possibility of some mix early on Friday with that rain, we don't have any snow in the forecast.
Unbelievable.
Some winter blasted 50 degrees, yeah.
Blasted, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Doc?
Well, it's a checkup for your neck up, and it's free and anonymous. Coming up, see the innovative new effort to reach people struggling with mental health issues.
All right, Frank, but first, stories from across Michigan, including a horrible crime. This man is charged with carrying out on his own mother. We'll have that in just a minute.
When Donald Trump is sworn in Friday, he won't be the first U.S. president to have a contentious relationship with the media. Tomorrow at 5, I sit down with Lester Holt as he remembers a clash Walter Cronkite had with a former president.
Across Michigan this Wednesday, following stories at post offices all across the state. Also a mystery that's unfolding in Battle Creek.
But we begin in Bay City. That's where a man is now facing life in prison after police say he stabbed his mother in a jealous rage. Police responded Saturday to a call about a woman bleeding. When they got there, a drunken Antonio Martinez rushed outside and yelled, "I killed her." It turns out he was talking about his mother, who was able to escape to a neighbor's home. She later told investigators her husband died a year ago and her son stabbed her in the chest for dating someone new.
Mystery in Battle Creek, where police are searching for the driver of a car that crashed today. Officers reported the crash on Watkins Road about 5:30 this morning. They say a Chevy Impala lost control, flipped, and hit a tree. And parts of that car were left scattered, but no body was found. Police have since learned the car is registered to a 25-year-old Battle Creek man, but that man has not been located.
Well, if you need to pick up some more stamps or mail something, you're going to want to do that now. That's because starting Sunday, the U.S. Postal Service will raise the cost to ship several items as well as the price of stamps. Stamps will go up from 47 cents to 49 cents. Shipping costs for flat rate boxes are also set to increase, as well as the costs for flat rate envelopes. Well, this is a sign that has people talking in Detroit.
It's coming soon. A Trader Joe's sign seen on a fence outside a vacant building in Corktown had people talking about the store setting up shop in the city, but it looks like it is not the case. Both Trader Joe's and the city confirmed there are no plans for a Trader Joe's in the D right now.
New at 5:30.
Scammers, they're at it again. I'll show you what they're trying to do as you get ready to file your taxes.
Call centers that call people out of the blue and claim to be from the IRS and threaten to come and pick you up and take you to jail if you don't pay them thousands of dollars immediately.
All the information and how to protect yourself, it's in my Help Me Hank special report.
Preparations continue both inside and outside the Capitol for the Trump administration. I'm Jay Gray. Full details coming up.
A very popular discount store on Detroit's east side and west side now shut down for good. Habitat of Humanity for Detroit saying they can't afford to run these anymore. What happened and why delinquent mortgages are coming into effect.
It's dinner live from downtown Detroit. Local 4 News at 5:30 starts now.
Layoffs and closings, words that workers never want to hear. But tonight, that's the harsh reality for an organization responsible for so much good in our city. Those layoffs and store closings are tied to Habitat for Humanity of Detroit as the organization tries to keep itself out of debt.
As Nick Monticelli reports tonight, 2 Habitat retail stores are closing in the city and due in large part to unpaid mortgages.
All afternoon, there's been a steady line of people coming here to the store on Mack, realizing the doors are closed. The same thing with the sister store on the west side, and they will stay this way permanently.
I love these stores. I love these stores. I mean, you find these great bargains, you know, doors, furniture, appliances.
Word that Detroit's Habitat stores are closing has not made the rounds yet. Several people like Pam Moore came today looking for a bargain. Inside, you can buy home improvement tools, appliances, or furnishings at deep discounts.
People that are refurbishing their houses and things, it helps them to refurbish their houses, you know, at a reasonable price and things.
But this store on Mack and another on Greenfield on Detroit's west side are closed for good. Poor sales are partly to blame, but delinquency is the biggest factor. When Habitat for Humanity puts homeowners in a house, the owners get great deals but still have to pay mortgages. The executive director says at one point, 40% of payments were delinquent. The current number is closer to 27%.
But that's still way too high. Also, our restores in the current locations haven't been as profitable as we would like.
Cockrell Jr. says they are working with homeowners but have had to foreclose on a few, but the numbers just aren't there. They have laid off many workers, going down to core staffing.
You don't want to send people home under circumstances like that, but the reality is, in some cases, if you don't make a decision like this, everybody goes home and then it's over, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
Now here's the good news. It won't be like this forever. They do plan to open 1 or 2 new restores just in better locations, and they're hoping to hire some staff back maybe by spring. On Detroit's east side, Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
Yeah, right now, Habitat is really hoping for donations, either in cash or in kind, to help get their finances back on track.
On the 2-year anniversary of his death, the Detroit family is pleading for someone to come forward to solve a young father's murder. Back in January of 2015, 24-year-old father of 3, Darren Wyatt, and his family were sleeping in their West Side home when they heard glass breaking. When Wyatt went to check to see where that sound was coming from, someone opened fire into the home, hitting and killing him. After 2 years and no arrests, his family is making an emotional plea.
Please speak up. This could be you standing here. This is a pain that you never, ever want to feel in your life.
A candlelight vigil to remember Wyatt is planned for tonight at 6:15 on the 5800 block of Vancourt Street.
Sort of tug of war occurring tonight in Washington. Supporters of President-elect Donald Trump and protesters pouring into the Capitol ahead of Friday's inauguration. Back and forth is also playing out inside the Capitol as hearings continue for Donald Trump's cabinet nominees. Jay Gray is in Washington with more. Jay?
Good evening. You can see the barricades, the fences up around the Capitol here. And as President-elect Donald Trump prepares to take the oath of office, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now says he expects as many as 6 cabinet nominees to be confirmed either before or on the day of that inauguration. In and around the Capitol, crews and tourists are preparing for Friday's inauguration.
We are doing the most significant thing that we've ever done in our life, is attending this presidential inauguration. And of course, this is probably the most controversial inauguration that there, ever has been.
Controversy that's pulling hundreds of thousands of Trump supporters and protesters to Washington.
I think this movement is what actually has a popular mandate, and we're here to make that movement be visible.
There is a visible show of force and security on the ground. Fences have been moved into place around the inaugural stage and along the parade route.
If you're going to violate a law or rule or disrupt an event, law enforcement will be prepared to react.
As federal agents, D.C. and Capitol Police stage across the district. On Capitol Hill, hearings continued today for 4 of Trump's key cabinet selections. Some of the most contentious debate and toughest questions leveled at Health and Human Services nominee Tom Price, who promised the new administration would provide access to health care for all Americans.
I have access to buying a $10 million home. I don't have the money to do that.
And that's why we believe it's appropriate to put in place a system that gives every person the financial feasibility to be able to purchase the coverage that they want for themselves and for their family. Again, not what the government forces them to buy.
Yep. Debate continuing both in and outside the Capitol as the president-elect prepares to walk out and onto the world's biggest political stage. Back to the protests now for just a second. 30 organizations have applied for protest permits. Capitol Police say an average inauguration sees about 6, and they think that regardless of whether they have a permit or not, there will be at least 100 organized demonstrations throughout the week here. In Washington, Jay Gray, Local 4.
All right, Jay, and among those huge crowds in Washington for the inauguration will be our own Kimberly Gill. Live coverage from Washington starting on Friday.
In Mexico, a 15-year-old student opens fire in a school, seriously injuring a teacher and 3 other students. It happened at a private school in the northern city of Monterrey. Monterrey, I should say. School officials say the injured had bullet wounds to the head and were in extremely serious condition. The teen shot the teacher, then 3 classmates before pointing the gun at other classmates and ultimately shooting and killing himself. The motive for the shooting is now under investigation. The woman accused of kidnapping a newborn from that hospital in Jacksonville, Florida 18 years ago has now learned she is not getting out of jail anytime soon.
Now, Gloria Williams appeared before a judge in Jacksonville today after being extradited from Walterboro, South Carolina. That's where authorities say she raised Kamiyah Mobley, whose real name is Alexis Manigo, without Manigo knowing. Williams abducted her from a hospital 8 hours after her birth. Manigo breaking her silence today for the first time.
I understand what she did was wrong, but I don't feel like, just look at my life itself, I understand that one mistake, but it wasn't all bad.
You can watch more of that interview ahead on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt coming up right here at 6:30. Now to good health. There is a new effort to help people struggling with mental health issues.
The goal is to reach people who might not otherwise seek out help. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with a look at the creative way one university hopes to do just that.
Well, Karen and Devin, one of the biggest challenges in mental health is connecting people who need help with the services that are already available. Tonight, that's a little easier for people on the campus of Oakland University, and all it takes is a few swipes. Tucked in the corner near the entrance to the Kresge Library at Oakland U is an exciting new tool. It's called the MindCare Kiosk.
There's a lot of students that don't feel comfortable coming up and talking to somebody.
Now they don't have to. The kiosk asks, "How are you feeling?" It offers a confidential, anonymous screening for anyone who wants to get a checkup from neck up.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's a wonderful resource for the campus.
Neelam Mehta is getting her master's in mental health counseling.
And I think it's time that, something was really done about it to tackle that. I think that people shouldn't be afraid to address their issues. Mental well-being is certainly just as important as physical well-being. I think they're all tied together.
The kiosk was made possible by a grant from the Flynn Foundation secured by Easter Seals, Michigan.
Mental health today is our biggest service line, and so we are always trying to find innovative and creative ways to, number one, not just provide services, but to break stigma and to get more people into care.
The evaluation takes just a couple minutes and connects users with options for assistance if needed.
All OU students get 6 free sessions with us. The following sessions after that are a very reduced cost, cheaper than most insurance co-pays. And we work with students and try and be accessible to every student. So having something like this on campus that's going to just be another piece of information that directs students to the help they need. I would love to see them on every college campus, really.
If it just saves one life, it's well worth the investment.
Now, this is the first MindCare kiosk in Michigan, but everybody today said they'd love to see more. This one is on the OU campus, but it is not limited to students. In fact, anyone can use it for free, and it connects users to mental health resources off campus as well as on.
Fascinating to see how attractive it is to people to want to use, yeah.
Right, it's anonymous, and people can have some interaction without having to sort of, it helps break the ice, I guess.
Right. Yeah. And I understand you have a big event tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right, actually. This is really important. I want to mention there is a severe local blood shortage right now. So if you can, please come out and donate blood tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 7:45 at the Gardner White stores in Auburn Hills, Canton, Macomb, Warren, Waterford, and Taylor, and from 11:30 until 7:15 at the Brighton store. And for more details, go to the health page at clickondetroit.com.
Doesn't take long.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Doc.
Today was Education Day with the North American International Auto Show.
School groups of all ages were welcome. Students had the opportunity to take part in pre- and post-show lesson plans, brief tours hosted by experts in their fields of interest, hands-on activities, and career-based presentations. Education Day started back in 2005.
And let's stay with things going on downtown. Adrenaline junkies have a new reason to head to this year's Winter Blast.
New tonight, Jason Carr is at the top, waiting to take you along for a ride on what's sure to be a popular attraction at this great family event.
And they just couldn't get out fast enough. What caused this huge flash flood right in the middle of the morning rush? Hank?
Scammers, they're at it again. I'll show you what they're trying to do as you get ready to file your taxes. All the information and how to protect yourself, it's in my Help Me Hank special report, and it's new tonight.
Ah, shit. New at 6.
It's the only public high school in this city, so could the state truly shut it down? We need to stand up. Teachers and parents rallying to make sure the state understands just how essential this high school is to this community. I'll explain why the school made the potential closure list.
Also, they walked in like they owned the place and then casually rolled out in a truck they didn't own. Now police and a local dealership need your help to stop them.
Tonight, a Help Me Hank scam alert revealing how crooks are working to rip you off as tax season gets underway.
In fact, as soon as your taxes are filed, the scammers are on the lookout trying to get a hold of your information. Consumer investigator Hank Winchester here with how to protect yourself at tax time.
Yep, and they've come up with a new way to try to trick you. It's all an opportunity for these scammers to get your cash. So tonight, we have expert advice about how to protect yourself and your money. The scammers, they are hard at work again, looking for a new way to take your cash. But don't worry, tonight we have information about how to protect your money. It's that time of year, time to get your documents ready as you prepare to file your taxes. But as soon as you send that information on, get ready. You may get a call from someone you wouldn't expect.
The biggest scam of recent times has been these call centers that call people out of the blue and claim to be from the IRS and threaten to come and pick you up and take you to jail if you don't pay them thousands of dollars immediately.
But now there's a new twist, and it could cause confusion for consumers. Blame it on legislation making it easier for third-party collectors or those posing as those collectors to get their hands on your money.
Congress actually passed a law that's going to authorize the IRS to use third-party debt collection agencies to collect the tax debt. And that's going to invite all kinds of fraud and phishing.
But you can take control. If you get a call from one of these third-party collection agencies or from someone that you think is trying to pull a fast one,
Here's what you should do.
Is everybody has the right to ask that their file be transferred back to the IRS and not be handled by the debt collection agency. In my opinion, I would do that every time.
Never give out your personal information over the phone. If you have suspicions about who is calling you, ask for their contact information. And always feel free to call the IRS directly if you feel the person who's calling you isn't legit.
We have more information from the experts about how you can stay safe, especially during the busy tax season. You'll find all that information on the Help Me Hank page right at clickondetroit.com. I'm Hank Winchester. Help Me Hank. Back to you.